Jennifer Armour was a typical 15-year-old in Tulare County. She attended local high school. She had a group of friends that she hung out with. November 15th, Jennifer came home from school on the bus. She had contacted her mother over the telephone and requested permission to attend the Mount Whitney Redwood football game that night. She left her house at approximately 7 p.m. by herself on foot. The plan was for her to meet a friend at the Kmart parking lot at approximately 7:30. We know that her friends left the Kmart parking lot at about 7:45, saying that she never arrived. The last reported sighting of Jennifer was when she was seen attempting to hitchhike. We do have witnesses that saw her attempting to get a ride, but nobody that actually saw her get into a vehicle. 9 days after she had left for that football game, Jennifer's body was located on November 24th, 1974 at about 2 p.m. It was located inside the water in the irrigation canal by a farm worker, approximately 10 miles from where she had last been seen. She was unclothed. We have evidence that her hands had been bound. The cause of death was determined to be drowning, and the results of the autopsy tell us that she had more than likely been in the water for that entire 9 days. It was difficult to tell at the time because of the decomposition of the body whether or not there was a sexual assault. Some of her clothing were located nearby in the canal bank that had obviously been in the water, covered in mud. Not all of her clothing was recovered. What we know is that she was alive when she went into the water and that her hands were bound at that time. Whether or not she was pushed into the water and held under or just pushed into the water and left behind, we don't know. It's quite possible that she went to this specific location on her own accord, and it's quite possible that there were others at that location that were not participants in the homicide. We're looking for these individuals to come forward and tell us what may have transpired. We do know from our investigation that several of these individuals have already been contacted by law enforcement over the years, and many of them have given us partial statements, some very good statements. The primary investigative leads were pointing towards some high school boys Jennifer was involved with. We have several witnesses that have come forward saying that at one time or another they have heard one or more of these three boys talking about being involved in Jennifer's murder. When they were interviewed, they all denied any involvement whatsoever. Two of those three individuals voluntarily gave polygraph tests, which at the time were deemed that they were lying in their answers. But there was never any physical evidence to tie any of those three to the actual case. One of the other connections that we're looking at in this particular case is the possibility of the Visalia Ransacker having been involved in Jennifer's homicide. The most glaring similarity is the time frame that it occurred. Jennifer was killed in November of 1974. I believe the Ransacker started in about April of 1974 and was very active at this time. That is an obvious red flag. We know by looking at the chronological time frame of the Ransacker's crimes, November 15th, 1974 was a specific date that he had not done any burglaries. So there is possibility that he could have been involved in this. At this point, we certainly can't rule out the Ransacker. We believe there are individuals that know what happened to Jennifer Armour, and we would like for those individuals to contact us and let us know what they know.